Hello there, and welcome back to round 5, the second last round of the night. I have to mute myself, but I'm sitting here with Alex Ullman. I'm Michael Bonde, and Alex, what do we have installed?
We have a win-in. So we have Ricardo Mattana on Stompy against Kendra on Tron. And this is, if Ricardo wins, it is a clean win-in. He makes it to the playoffs next week. If he doesn't, a lot depends on whether or not you win your next round. Because if you win, it's a clean win-in. We have 4 players at 4-2, 1 player at 5-1. Easy. Yeah. If Ricardo loses and you lose, what we then have are 3 players at 4-2 and 3 players at 3-3. And then we're not sure. There's going to be some tiebreaker math. There's going to be maybe some like sudden and death rounds. We're not quite sure yet. We have to figure that out. I'll be honest, I'm hoping for some clean win-ins because I'm one of those 3-3 players, and next week is tough for me in the real world. But let's talk about this match. You think that this is Kendra's probably best match of the night?
Yes, so we have, what we have on going on here is Kendra on Temur Tron.
Yeah.
It's a deck that assembles Tron and then plays a lot of big creatures in Ulamog's Crusher, Self-Assembler, Wretched Gryff, and Fangren Marauder. And then we have the Stompy deck that just stomped me to oblivion. Ricardo's mono green, I guess it's green, it's Groll with the Burning-Tree Emissary. So how do you think this is going to play out, Alex?
So this really comes down to a couple key cards. If Ricardo's able to get that really quick start, he's just going to potentially overrun Kendra. Yeah. Kendra's really looking for turn 3 Tron with Fangren Marauder backup. I think one of the key things is whether or not she gets those stars and spheres down with the Marauder so she can start gaining life in chunks of 5. Stompy's really good at dealing life damage in chunks of 4. And if Kendra's able to gain life in those chunks of 5, she can survive long enough to take over the game with a new Ulamog's Crusher or a Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, that's an interesting point with the gaining 5. That is actually like super important to gain the specific 5.
Well, it sounds like everyone's ready. So we're going to go down to the match and see if Ricardo can break serve and get into the playoffs.
Yeah, and to all the Brazilians here or everyone who's rooting for Kendra, please write in the chat and support our players so they can see when they see the bot or later that people are rooting. And we have Mr. Willie Edel here, so welcome, grandfather of Latam Magic. And
he's a big supporter of Ricardo, and Ricardo's on the play.
Yes, and he's firing off the Quirion Ranger, so he will have enough mana this game, I presume.
Yeah. Kendra kept an interesting hand. She had 1 Tron piece, Ancient Stirrings, and Prophetic Prism, but she happened to draw into the 2nd Tron piece. So,
yes. And an interesting point that you said before we went on is Savage Swipe is here. So there is a potential that Ricardo can kill a Fangren Marauder with a fight spell, but there isn't a Mongol to actually block any of these big creatures. So if Kendra gets to assemble Tron and get the big creatures on the board, Ricardo can be in some trouble.
Yeah. Kendra is going for the stirrings here, so she is digging for Tron, and if she gets it, I like her position, but because Ricardo is threat light but damage heavy. That is not Tron, that is Expedition map.
It's the troll Ancient Stirrings, the delayed Tron. But hopefully she'll draw it next turn, for her at least.
So that is a pretty big draw. Hunger of the Howl Pack means that Ricardo is going to be able to put a ton of damage on the board this turn. Between Quirion Ranger, Elephant Guide, and Hunger, he's going to be able to add 6 power to his board.
Yes. And the fun thing here is Quirion Ranger is really like showcasing some strength here, and we're going to see some nice morbid action with the Eldrazi token. So both the 2-drop and the 1-drop are really showing why they're in the deck and how they sometimes can just take over a board state that looks pretty innocent.
So I actually like the play of putting all the power on 1 creature, because now you can Savage Swipe against anything.
Yeah.
And this game is over. Kendra cannot play enough to stop the bleeding. You know, she was a turn too short.
Yeah, it's like Ricardo knows that Kendra, the only thing that she has is a Flame Slash. So just putting everything on the 2/2 it just makes it big enough to Kendra has to have like Tron and then double Flame Slash, and then Ricardo will still have 4 damage on the board plus the cards in his hand. So I really like the all in play here, and we're just gonna see a swift turn 4 kill.
I mean, that's the thing. The aggro decks in Pauper are these turn 4 decks, and that's it.
And Kendra sees the writing on the wall, and we have a 1-0 to the Stompy deck.
So what do you think Ricardo's trying to bring in here? Do you think the Gleeful Sabotages are good enough?
I think he's not gonna bring in Hidden Spider, that's for sure. Even though there's some love in the chat. I think Kendra has only 4 prisms, so she isn't really that much revolving around the Astrolopes or the Mana Stones. So I could see him porting Gleeful Sabotage, but they have like less ways of interacting than what you usually see in these matchups.
Well, it looks like Kendra brought in the Weather the Storms, but the Gleeful Sabotages can hit those self-assemblers, which can be important because those do a good job of gumming up the ground.
Yes. Depending on what she has in the sideboard, it doesn't look like she has that many blanks, but she could put in Leave the Trace for both a Rancor, like to try to get rid of it, but it will come back. So it's the elephant, or if he thinks that he boards in the Hidden Spider, but I don't think he would do that. He didn't. We saw he didn't. But Kendra has the turn 3 Tron here, and Ricardo is mulliganing. Yep. So how do you like Ricardo's hand here with the one-laner?
I think, I have to mulligan that. Even on the draw, it's too risky. If I had any threat, basically a Nettle Sentinel, I am more inclined to keep it, but it's so risky to keep that when you don't have any of your real payoffs. But
so what is the payoff of actually keeping in hand?
If you draw a forest, you get to Burning-Tree Emissary into River Boa on turn 2.
Yeah.
And you have 2 draws for that. So you're pretty live for that draw, but it needs to be exactly forest. It can't be Quirion Ranger, which kind of takes the place of a forest a lot of times. It has to be exactly forest to matter. And Kendra's going to assemble turn 3 Tron with Flame Slash, Fangren Marauder, and this is going to be a quick game in the other direction.
Yes. So I think sometimes you have to see your hand and say, is this actually, am I winning against a Tron player on the play with only 5 cards in hand? So what is the upside compared to if I draw a land, which is probably like 60% or something, or even more from the top of my deck. So I like that Ricardo took the risk here when he's up a game, knowing his matchup. He is a Pauper aficionado from Brazil. So I think he took the risk, but in this particular case, it didn't really pay off. So that is what happens.
I mean, this was probably Ricardo's worst draw of the night against Kendra's absolutely best draw of the night. Natural Tron,
the Marauder,
all the fat creatures, going to gain 5 life.
And I think Kendra is doing this again while she's really playing heads up with she knows the Fangren Marauder is a deal breaker for Ricardo with the stars on the board. So she's not cracking them. She's waiting. She's really patient, and I really like that play.
So we're going to game 3, and those were 2 fast games. And
even from a Tron player, that's a pretty fast.
I mean, this style of Tron's fallen out of favor because it doesn't have that inevitable end game the other one does.
Yeah,
and that is a very good hand from Ricardo, and that looks like an auto mulligan from Kendra.
Yes.
Into 3 lands, 1 Tron piece, but very importantly, Flame Slash.
Yes, and you could say 2 Tron pieces if she doesn't put away the... So I kind of like the hand from Kendra. It is not what you want to do, but it's definitely a hand that is here to play ball.
Yeah.
But it just like the initial, when you see this, how these hands are lined up and knowing that Stompy can take over a game, it looks like the advantage bar is in Ricardo's favor here.
Yes, but Only sort of, because what Ricardo can do here is he can Burning-Tree Emissary into the Gleeful Sabotage.
Yeah.
But then what Kendra can do is take care of one of the two threats.
Yeah.
And that only leaves Ricardo with 2 power on the board. And while that's good, it's not all that overwhelming. It's containable. And there's Kendra, second Tron piece.
Yeah.
Yep, going for Flame Slash.
And killing I think killing whatever here, because they don't really have any benefits.
I actually think you kill Nettle Sentinel, because it has pseudo vigilance, but also with Gleeful Sabotage, it can do a lot of it basically is a free conspire.
Yes, but
free conspire.
The upside of killing the other card is if Ricardo has like pump spells or anything, no, not even pump spells. If he runs out of cards, he has to draw an unland from the top of his deck for it to actually attack. So I like gambling here, even though it's not really a gamble. It's just, do you think the vigilance is important with this hand, or do you think everything else is important?
No, I just think that on the board, Nettle Sentinel is a more impressive card. Ricardo has cards in hand, and with while Kendra didn't know it, the Quirion Ranger does mean that it would have vigilance no matter what.
Yeah.
But we're getting to a point where Kendra has a turn to draw what amounts to business. Needs to draw the power plant, or it's going to be a tough road.
So a steerings. A steerings is...
It's something.
Yes, it is a way to dig for the Tron piece, but it's not really the best. So the Tron piece is there, but there's not enough to actually play the Gryff. So what she needs to do here is to draw a Ulamog's Crusher, but it is lethal with the with the drawn Vines of Vastwood.
So
and it puts the Brazilian superstar into a position where if he plays the Vines of Vastwood, he is into the playoffs in the Pauper Premier League.
And there's nothing Kendra can do. There's no free fog. And that's it. We have a 4th player playing next week. It is Ricardo Mattana. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
He's very happy to go to sleep. Brazil's happy to go to sleep. And I'm happy for him and happy for Brazil to get a player in. And now we get to see if you're going to be joining him in the playoffs next week. Potentially.
Let's see. I have to get through Condescent for...
So how do you feel about this matchup? I
think I have ways to deal with his combo, and I have counter spells. So I think it's an actual matchup. I don't know if it's 50-50 or if it's closer to 45-55. And I don't even know in whose favor, but I know
this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, counter spells does a lot of action, and his 4 dispels are also pretty insane here. But let's see how the games turn out and who gets into the playoffs.
Well, good luck, Michael. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and see y'all.
We'll be back.